Hi, Thi. Yet again we meet. I should say I just came off a call with a friend, and he mentioned that he's been in the UK for 6 months and he got a mortgage already. Because you're the mortgage wizard, I thought I should probably come and ask you. So, is it actually possible to get a mortgage within 6 months of stay in the UK?
Very good question, Pradesh. You definitely can. So technically, you qualify to get a mortgage when you're in the UK in 6 months. But not everybody will qualify because obviously they will carry out a credit search, and also they will look at a deposit as well, because when you've been in the UK for 6 months, they look for a deposit of around 25% or more.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, that is huge for some people, but technically it's possible. So if you do have that deposit, maybe from your savings, from overseas or whatever it is, you might still be able to apply for a mortgage, provided your credit score is good and provided your earnings are very decent. You have a chance.
Right, I'm a little startled now because 25% deposit, right? But what if I really don't have 25% of deposit?
Well, it's fine. You may have to wait a 6 months period longer. So when you wait for a year, there's more lenders who have more options. So with about 10% deposit, there will be a lender out there who will be happy to give you a mortgage, but provided you have that 10%. But remember, you still have to work on your credit score and just make sure that everything is squeaky clean.
Right, credit score is something that I hear all around, when I turn left, right, center, right? But how exactly do I build this credit score if I've been in the UK for just six months or 1 year? Because I have this impression that, if I get a credit card, it's bad. If I get a loan, it's bad. But is it really true?
Yeah, there are a lot of factors that affect your credit score. But you can do some quick fixes to make your credit score good from day one. So as soon as you come to the country, just make sure that you register in the voters list. Well, that's very, very important. If you just type on one of the search engines, voters list, you will get the name. So you go there and do that first. Obviously, it's good to have a credit card, but make sure you pay your credit card in full, because that's when you get the full benefit out of it. Loans, it can help because with the credit score, what they actually look at is, are you able to keep up to your credit commitments? That's what they're looking at. So loans may not be a bad idea, but the problem is a lot of people take loans and it just gets out of control, right? Because they take it for wrong reasons and they spend that money. So that's not very responsible. So avoid it if you can. Credit card is not a bad thing, but loans, as much as possible, avoid it if you can. But there are a lot of other things that you can do to boost your credit score. This is when advisor becomes very important. You can talk to your bank or a mortgage advisor who might be able to give you advice on this.
Okay, so I need to get myself registered on the voters list, and it's okay to get credit cards and loans from what you're saying, as long as I pay them off on time and be responsible with my commitments.
That's right. Yeah, with the loans, be a little careful. Don't over borrow, right? Because the last thing you want to give the bank an impression is you don't have the loans under control.
So, is there like a minimum credit score requirement that I need to meet in order for me to actually get a mortgage with the lesser stay I have?
Yeah, that's a £1 million question, because that's something that even we wouldn't know, even the banks wouldn't divulge that to them. It depends on the bank's risk appetite and at what time they're kind of looking at it, sort of thing. So they could move that score up and down. But today, credit score is only an indication, because banks do something called an internal credit score as well.
Okay, so let's say I've been in the UK for about a year now. I have some income coming in, but affordability does not work out. So what are my options then? If the mortgage is not affordable, then technically I can't get a mortgage. But are there any other ways of getting a mortgage if the affordability does not work out?
Okay, that's a bonus question, really. There are a lot of schemes out there which you can use to improve your affordability. A lot of people don't know this, right? But the government has an initiative where they give about £2,000 for borrowers, right? So how they do it is in the form of a LISA or a lifetime ISA.
Right, that's something I've heard about a lot actually, because my friend who I spoke to over the phone, he told me, I had a LISA account, I got a 25% bonus from the government. I was like, okay, what is LISA? All I know is Lisa. So can you please explain to me what this LISA account is all about?
Yeah, you can call it Lisa as well. Some people do. So basically, if you deposit £4,000, the government tops it up with £1,000.
Wow.
So if there is you and your partner is applying for a mortgage, so together you put £8,000 and you end up getting £2,000 from the government. So that's a bonus, right? So you get that, right? So that's definitely go for everybody, right? There's no restriction as such. You can go for it even if you're on a visa. So that's one thing you can do. The second thing is you have the government guarantee scheme where you can get a mortgage with a 5% deposit. So you will be eligible for that as well because there's no eligibility criteria which stops foreign nationals from applying. The third thing is there are help to buy schemes out there. So help to buy is a scheme where it's again a government-backed scheme where you put a 5% deposit and you can buy a house.
Hold on a second, Ifti. So help to buy, I heard that the help to buy scheme has ended. Like it ended some time ago.
Yeah.
But is it true that it is available in some regions? Like how is it possible?
That's exactly what I was going to say next.
Right.
So with the help to buy England, it's no longer active, unfortunately, unless you're already on the scheme. But there are schemes like help to buy Wales, like you said, regional schemes still available. So those are the ones I'm talking about, right? So you are still eligible for that. But see, if you're living in Wales, maybe you have this option, or there may be other regions as well. So that's another option you have. And the third option that you have, this is again a bonus, right? A lot of people miss out on this. There's something called a shared equity scheme. So a shared equity scheme is where you buy a property along with the housing association. So when you buy a house along with the housing association, you don't buy the whole house. Say you might buy 25% of the house. Let's say the house is 200,000. You will buy 25%, which is 50,000. So you only need a mortgage on the 50,000. So what that means is if you put 10% deposit on 50,000, which is £5,000, right? So that's all you need as a deposit. Now remember, the government, if you get involved in the LISA scheme, you do get that bonus funds as well, right? So that kind of reduces from that 5,000. So effectively, you don't even need, 5% to go for this mortgage, right? So because the house is 200,000 and all what you need is 10% of 50,000, right? So which works out to much lower that number than 5%, and obviously you get the LISA money coming through as well, or the LISA.
Right, it's great to know that I have some option for me to actually get on a property ladder on such a short stay in the UK. So, what if I have money back at home? Is it okay for me to bring it back in, bring it to the UK and use it as deposit for me to actually buy a property?
Yes, it is possible. I think if somebody has money, best to get advice on it because banks look for your audit trail. They want to know how this money arrived at the UK account. So that's something that the banks will look at. So get some advice because you can't just bring it down the way you want because they'll want to see the trail, how that money was built up and how it came to the UK. So get some advice on that, but definitely you can bring money from overseas.
Okay, so initially we looked at 6 months of stay in the UK, then we looked at 1 year. What if I've been in the UK for 2 years, I've saved up enough money, then what are my options?
The options are more. The longer you stay in the UK, things become easier. But when you hit the 2-year mark, there's more lenders available compared to a 1-year stay. So, your credit file would have definitely got much better because the longer you stay in the UK, the longer the credit agencies have times to judge you. So through that, your credit scores would have got better. So your options will be more. And more lenders will be welcoming as well. But like I said, even at 6 months, you can apply for a mortgage, but you will need a bigger deposit. But after 2 years, the deposit required will be smaller.
So I have one intriguing question. So what if I buy a property with my partner who is not a foreign national, but a British citizen rather? How will the lenders treat us? So will they treat both of us as if they would treat a British citizen? Or would they treat us differently because one of them is, say, I'm a foreign national, but my spouse isn't. She's a British citizen. So how exactly does the treatment work there?
It could work better than both of you being foreign nationals. So if one of the applicants are British, obviously they would have built up a credit history. Things will be much easier for you for sure. But again, because one person is on a visa, some lenders might not look at it very favorably if you're counting both of the income. But if not, there's more options for sure, because they at least can judge based on one person.
Okay, so I'm really relieved to know that there are so many options out there for me, irrespective of whether me staying in the UK for 6 months, 1 year, or even 2 years. And also, I think it's very important to build a credit score as well, as long as you take out credit cards and personal loans and pay them off responsibly. And in the meantime, great to know there are schemes like Help to Buy, regional Help to Buy schemes do exist, isn't it? Especially in Wales. And also there's shared equity, which where I don't really have to put a massive amount of deposit. So great to hear all of this information. I just need to go back home, reflect on these exact thoughts that we have been discussing. So thank you so much, Ifti. I think it was a very informative chat, and let's meet again on another video.
Thank you, buddy.